Welcome back to WD Magiccast for the week of June 30th, 2024. Happy birthday, America! July 4th, right around the corner. This is episode 262. WD Magiccast, the show about the mouse, the Marvels, the galaxy, and beyond. I'm your host, Matthew Graken. In this week's show, Dave Gallman and I sit down and talk about the mid-ish season review of The Acolytes. Hold on to your chairs, everybody. This is going to get dangerous, as Darkwing Duck says. Make sure to join the conversation. Let us know what you think about the Acolytes and anything else that we talk about or anything we haven't talked about, and maybe something you'd like us to talk about. Let us know on the social medias. We're found just about everywhere at WD Magiccast, on Threads, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We are out there, and make sure to follow along on our YouTube channel where you'll be able to catch some really cool things over there as well. And on that bombshell, I know I'd be amiss if I didn't mention our cool TeePublic store where you can get yourself some nice outfits, nice tops, beach bags, different things for the summer, or prepare for the winter. They got hoodies and coffee mugs and stuff like that as well. And now on that bombshell, on with the show. In a galaxy far, far away, an investigation into a shocking crime spree pits a respected Jedi Master against a dangerous warrior from his past. As more clues emerge, they travel down a dark path where sinister forces reveal all is not what it seems. This is the synopsis to The Acolytes, or Star Wars The Acolytes. Original series on Disney Plus that takes place 1,000 some years before A New Hope. And speaking of taking 1,000 years to get to us, Dave Gallman is here to talk about his view. Hold on, everybody. To The Acolytes. But before we do that,
let's get into some good stuff first.
I know some people who like Acolytes. So, but before that, since you weren't able to make it last week, Dave,
yes,
due to scheduling conflicts, and we missed you. But so you heard from me. You heard from Ken Deep about the Doctor Who season. Dave, what are your takes? What are your views? And who's your MVP for Doctor Who season 1?
Season 1. Okay, so now I'm a little thrown off by because I've read off the IMDb reviews and stuff like that from the first 4 episodes that we did. But the finale, I texted you. I thought the finale was phenomenal. That last episode, and they only gave it a 6.6. So to me,
what?
Yeah, 6.6. Empire of Death. That shocks me. The one before, The Legend of Ruby Sunday, got an 8.2. So I don't know. I was skeptical of this. I did. I'm on record. I enjoyed this season, but I wasn't sure how it was going to finish up because I was like, "Where's the big bad?" But we really didn't need a whole 6 episodes for Sutek. The two. No. What did we see? He was in there for like the last 2 episodes, right? Or towards the end of episode 7. It was fun.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So having him come in at the end, that tied it up in a nice bow. I think Ken Deep gave it an 8. I'm right with him on that. I would give it an 8.
Ken gave it an 8. I gave it a 9.
Yeah, I would give it an 8 too. I enjoyed it. For Shudy's first role in here. He played the Doctor very well. I'm on board with him. So now it's he's got a season under his belt. Let's see what he brings to season 2. The MVP. That's a tough one. That's tough. Can I go with the Doctor as the obvious one? Because
You really can go with whoever you want. I think we've established that, but yeah,
because he carried the show. Like Ruby was there, and you got her good ending, tied up.
right. Yeah, Ken went with the Maestro. I went with Ruby's mother.
Right. So for me, I would say the Doctor. He carried the show. He really. I mean, I know that's his role. He's the main actor of the series, but there wasn't really anybody else that stood out for me other than him. So
no, there wasn't too many like heavy hitter characters. Like Rogue may show back up, but was just the one episode. So I was like, I don't know. I'd have to see about Rogue. I guess then also favorite episode.
The favorite, that was the finale. I hate to be cheap like that, but it was the finale.
Valid answer. It's an episode.
Yeah, no, that finale, that one, like, close second would be the one where he stood on the mine. Boom.
Yeah, that's the one I think I picked.
That's a close second, but yeah, that one made the finale, because I'm still in the earlier seasons and stuff like that. That finale brought me. I got the feels of being back then. So for me, that was the best episode of the 8.
The last episode I thought was brilliant. That you wrapped everything up nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not everything.
Not everything, but most.
That was one of the things I was saying. You still have some dangling threads, which is fine. I thought that was a very emotional end.
Yeah.
And it just really gave me the feels. I just. That was really good. The doctor's, this all stuff I mentioned last week, but the doctor's statement of, I'm not, you bring death, I bring life. I'm not that person anymore. And just reestablishing who the character is and just how well Shuti did this season and just how much life he brought back to that character.
Yeah. Obviously, I haven't seen the more recent ones, but just discussing the show with you about previous seasons, I see that there's a spark back in the show for you.
Yeah. Well, you're still in Matt Smith, so you're getting there.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right, so let's get into the reason
Any
for the
other
episode.
Comments about Doctor Who before we move on?
No, I'm good, man. We'll just I'm assuming they'll have a nice Christmas episode before.
Yes, Christmas episode's already in the can, already filmed. It is The Joy to the World is the title. That'll be coming out sometime around Christmas time, probably Christmas Day or so. Yeah. So and then season 2 is actually already done.
Wow. So the last thing I'll say is I don't even think, because you were talking to Ken about it, he didn't really 73 yards. Like he even said some things are not meant to be known right away. So I don't even think he knew a lot of the questions we had about that episode too. So that was kind of cool. So hopefully we find out something about that in season 2. But
right. I mean, they did talk about what the 73 represented.
Mm-hmm.
There was a significance to that number that they mentioned in the season finale.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, there's still some questions in that. And it's still possible we could get some answers.
Yeah. Yep. I'm looking forward to it. If they leave us hanging, but hopefully we get something.
So the Acolytes.
Yep. I was hoping for this one. I'm not going to totally. I was almost out after episode 3.
And let's be fair, Dave. I have the text messages to prove it. You were almost out on episode 1.
I was like, I'm just gonna let this one ride, and I'll do a recap on YouTube. And look, this could just be bombing of the show or whatever. But again, not that IMDb is the thing to go to, but 5.4, 5.1, 3.5, 4.8, and 6.7. So it kind of goes with, because episode 3 was the one that made me want to check out. So 3.5 kind of correlates with that. the episode 5 was in my opinion, was their best episode, and that got the highest rating of them. So it's similar to what I'm thinking. So
I could get that. I could totally understand that because that was one of the stronger episodes.
yeah.
Even episode 6, right? No,
6 just aired. Yeah.
6 is airing tonight as we record because we're recording late.
Right.
Yeah, we're recording on the 2nd. So yeah, we didn't get the we're not getting to that one, which is fine. You're right. 5. Yeah, 5 was very strong. I thought 4 was pretty good too.
4 was kind of even kill until it got to the when it finally was getting good, it stopped and the credit rolled. So
well, then that's kind of the point because that's your mid-season.
Yeah, I know, but I'm getting to that point. I just mentioned this on the other show that I'm on. That I'm wondering if this could just be me, the way I'm getting antsy with some of these shows where
get off my lawn.
No, I know they have to fit like these 8 episodes or whatever 10 episode seasons and stuff. But if they can tell the same story or a better story in a shorter amount of time, like 4 episodes or something, I would rather have a 4 episode good story than an 8 episode dragged out thing that's not good. I'm not saying that everything about the Acolyte is bad, but there you can pull some stuff out and you can leave some stuff in and make it a lot better.
I get that. We've been saying that on this show for quite some time.
Yeah.
And to that point, think about it. A lot of these shows have actually cut back on episodes because some of them used to be like 15 episodes, then 12 episodes or something like that.
Right. Over the course of time, they have gone down. Yes.
And now this one's 8.
Right.
Even Doctor Who was 8. Mm-hmm. So they are pulling back on that for multiple reasons.
Right.
One of which obviously is going to be budget. It's cheaper. You could not spend as much money and still put out a quality item, mm-hmm. or associate more money to 8 episodes. It's less money in total than if you did 12 episodes and you have to spend more money and not divide it as evenly amongst the 12 episodes, and gets a little hairy there. So they are doing that to an extent, but it's also Hollywood and they like structure, sort of.
Right.
Okay, this is how we do it. We're doing 8 episodes in this way, in this format, and that. And we still need a mid-season cliffhanger to draw people in, even though the next, the whole point of that was with terrestrial TV that, you would have your mid-season hanger at the end of March. You'd go all of April without new episodes. And then come May, you would finish up start winding down the season.
Right. But you can make the argument, though, like terrestrial TV, regular shows that you would watch were like 26 episodes a season, though. You know what I'm saying? And the quality, you can argue for some shows were better with 26 episodes compared to like an 8 episode of the Acolyte. It's I don't know. It's weird. So that, I don't know.
You maybe could argue that the quality of TV was better 40 years ago.
True. True. It could just be me, being a fan of Star Wars. I want to watch good storytelling. I want to watch, good Star Wars. So if I'm not entertained, it just feels like the season is forever. That could be what it's all about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because even we never did the Ahsoka review because there was things with Ahsoka that bothered me, and I'm like, this could have been that.
Yeah, we keep working on that part.
That one could have been a shorter thing. Even Mando, and I love the Mandalorian. That last season of Mandalorian felt like they were losing their traction or where they were going. So, they're starting to spin their wheels a little bit with this, and I'm like, maybe we should just stop and do a reboot, and think before we come out with another show. Like, I'm looking forward to Andor. I don't think that's going to miss, because I thoroughly enjoyed that first season. So if Andor flops, then we got major problems.
Well, see, but Andor season 2 is not going to be like Andor season 1.
Right.
It's going to be jumping time. It's going to be it's going to be a slightly different format.
In what way? What do you know? What do you know?
Uh,
what are you holding from me?
So where like you would get progressive episodes in season 1 that one episode would lead into the next would lead into the next.
Right.
This is going to be like one episode happens a year after season 1, and the next episode is going to be 5 years later. And
they're going to do time jumps from.
They're going to do time jumps because you have to get to the point of Rogue One.
Of Rogue One, right?
Not there. We still have quite a bit of time.
Okay, I can see that.
So, yeah.
All right. So, how deep dive you want to go into this thing?
All right, episode 1 here.
Yeah.
Let's see. The episodes that we're talking about. We have episode 1, Lost Bound. Episode 2, Revenge Justice. Episode 3, Destiny. Episode 4, Day. Followed by episode 5, Night. Yes. They put a lot of thought into these titles.
Part of the problem. No. Oh, man. This one, okay. You get Carrie Ann Moss, Trinity from The Matrix. You bring her in. Are we doing spoilers or no?
Let's do just a general thought, and then we'll get into spoilers.
Okay. All right. That's going to change my flow on this one then. You get introduced to the characters. I agree. Like, it does take a couple episodes to get your feels for new people. This is a new era. Did it suck me in entirely? Not really. I think because of what did happen early in the show, I'm like, is this what this is gonna be about? So I don't know. What was your thoughts on episode 1?
Well, we don't have to stick to just episodes. We
okay.
Can just give it an overall thought. Let's do an overall thought.
All right. So then you go into episode 2, and the individual keeps plodding along, doing her thing, and I didn't totally hate the first 2 episodes. They were okay, but I was waiting for it to take traction and grab hold of where we were actually going. It was the 3rd episode that, I don't know if you had the same feeling as me, but it was the 3rd episode where when they got to the witches and they started, it was like the most cringe-worthy moment for me in Star Wars history when the witches were singing. And it's not a spoiler. I'm sure it's everywhere if you've seen it, if you're on social media. I was like, whoa. And I'm like, I paused it and I'm like, at this point, I'm like, do I finish this episode? And I, trudged on through it. And that's where, what I said before, that's episode, at the end of episode 3, that's when I was like, all right, I think I might have to stop watching this, which is hard for me for a Star Wars show.
Right.
Right. And then you get into episode 4, it starts to get cooking. You're like, all right, maybe we're back on track here. They leave you with the cliffhanger. Then you get into 5, where all the action happens, and you sit there and you go, okay, now we're cooking. I like it, but you still got the bad taste in your mouth from the 4 previous episodes. So it's kind of like what I felt with Endgame. Like, that was a 3.5-hour movie where nothing happened in the first 2.5 hours, and then all of a sudden the superheroes show up, and I'm supposed to be happy.
Dave, on your left.
What's that?
On your left.
Yeah.
I totally get that. I totally get that. I'm not quite where you are.
Mm-hmm.
the first two episodes did take a little bit. I didn't mind the third episode as much because to me it's the natural point that at some point they're going to give you the backstory of some of these characters and the relationship and the catalyst for the events that are happening or that you've seen happen.
Right.
So that's what episode 3 is. Without it, because if you take episode 3 out,
Mm-hmm.
does anything that you'd watch make sense?
It could have been done better, though, man. It could have been.
You take episode 3 out, does the plot make sense?
I mean, you knew they were going to have to do a backstory,
right,
with all the characters.
I'm
so
not saying
I
that
agree.
They did the best job at it. I'm just
right.
Saying
There you go.
Episode 3 out.
Right.
Does
You're
anything
right.
make sense?
It does need to be in the progression of the storyline. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
And then yes, things start to get rolling with 4 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying it. I enjoy the Old Republic stuff because it's something we haven't seen on screen.
Yeah.
In any format, besides video games.
Right.
And you had stuff in books and comic books, but like to actually have actors portray Old Republic stuff. I mean, the furthest back that we went was, episode 1.
Right.
So seeing that, and you get a very different side of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not the noble, thoughtful, meditative Jedi that we've known. These are, in some ways, I feel more arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of pompous in the way that they present themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very different. And I don't think you're really supposed to like them. Isn't
this being told by the side of the Sith? Like, wasn't that how they were booking this? Where it was like, what was it? What was the Marvel movie that was from the eyes of a certain guy? One of the Thor movies. It was through the eyes of the Rock guy, wasn't it? So, Love and Thunder, our favorite movie, wasn't that through the? It was a telling of the story through the eyes of somebody. So that's what I think this was supposed to be, the telling of a story through the eyes of a Sith or a a dark sider or something. That's what I thought.
Right.
I don't know.
Kind of, because that's what the Acolyte stands for.
Right.
Hence the title is that he's the follower.
Mm-hmm.
For the Sith follower, because they're not as familiar with the Sith, so kind of like the well, he introduced the main antagonist introduces themselves as Sith. Like, there's already a name for me, I guess, but you would call me Sith. So, it's not as common then, but kind of like there had to be, one to start things off. I'm not saying that this character is the original Sith,
mm-hmm.
but kind of the first one to make themselves known in probably some time.
Yeah.
The show has a lot more direction now than it did originally, so it kind of makes sense of which way it's going, but there's still some dangling questions that they've put out there to answer in the next 3 episodes. So we shall see. Overall, what would your mid-season rating be?
This probably.
Or do you want me to go first?
You go first. I'm not giving it a 0. I'll give you that. Go ahead.
I will give it a 6.
Okay, we're almost in the same. I'm going to give it a 5 because it's okay. That's the best I'll give it.
Right. Again, I'm not
At
saying
this
it's
point.
the best thing. Some people are comparing it to Andor and think it's the greatest thing.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm not saying it's awful. I am just saying it's not spectacular.
Yeah.
With 6 being above average.
So I wonder if this one suffers from the not being able to binge it all at once. Because not that I want to do this, but I'm wondering, like, when it's over, if I do a rewatch and just watch all 8 in a row, would that change my opinion as far as just
would it
watching
flow
these?
better? It's possible.
Yeah.
So at this point, we will ring the cloister bells and say that there, anyone who hasn't watched Acolytes up through episode 5, pause now, watch those, join back in. We will go delve into some spoilerish and plot pointish up to this point of up to the Acolytes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like I was saying, the Jedi are more brash, just arrogant, pompous. Not the way that we are used to seeing Jedi portrayed.
Mm-hmm. And we're not even seeing the council here, right? We're not seeing any of the. These are all like the lower level Jedis, correct?
These are the knights.
The knights, right?
These are the knights.
And is Yoda? Because I'm getting messed up with the whole timeline. Like, I'm hearing 100 years. I'm hearing 1,000 years. Like, where the Sith not seen in 1,000 years, and this is set 100 years before Revenge of the Sith. Like that's where I'm getting like mixed up. So is Yoda on the High Council in this, where we may actually be able to see Yoda at one point?
There hasn't been a mention of Yoda to my knowledge. I'm trying to see if I can find.
Because, I mean, they put Keanu Mundi in there, and that set the world afire.
Yeah, things that I'm seeing is 100 years.
100 years, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah. I just came up with 1,000. That's just me.
No, but I've heard both. You know what I mean? Not just through you. Did you? But just to sidetrack on the county, did you hear about that? They had to change his birth date in Wikipedia in order to correlate with this timeline now, because he wasn't even supposed to be alive during the recording, during this era. He wasn't even supposed to be alive.
Yeah, this is not Old Republic, it's High Republic.
High Republic.
So yeah, so it'd be approximately 100.
Okay. Yeah, because
100 years before
Revenge of the Sith. That's what
No.
Or Phantom Menace. It's one of them earlier ones. It was
Phantom Menace. 100 years before the Phantom Menace.
Okay. Yeah, because she was greenlit for 3 seasons, and we were led to believe that it was supposed to be like where it Sith based, where it would lead up to Palpatine doing his thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're in the High Republic. Yeah, that's. I would think it was the initial plan. I don't know if that's.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so going back to episode 1. Now, we've watched many episodes of Star Wars lately, and it just seems like when you get stabbed with a lightsaber, it doesn't kill you anymore. However, Carrie Ann Moss gets stabbed with a dart, and she's gone. I'm like, huh? What? Like, you could pop that sucker out and like force heal yourself right there on the spot. I don't know.
Well, let's be fair about the lightsaber part. In episode 5, there's a lot of Jedi that want to say, wish that happened to them.
This is true.
But Reva, I'm jumping ahead of ourselves. One. Because you set it up that Amandla Stenberg, her character is the main bad guy. This is the character we're going to be chasing.
Mm-hmm. That's May, right? That's what you're talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
character of May. Then we are quickly introduced to, of course, the twin sister of Osha. And you need one sister to chase down the other sister. Why not? That works for me. Episode 3 is where you explain where the rift in the sisterhood happened.
Right. You can tell one's like a dark side and the other one's like a light side. So.
Right. And dark side more and wanting to follow with the traditions of the people
witches
that raised them.
Right.
The witches. I had a hard time telling if they were Darth Maureen witches or not.
The Dathomir ones? No,
yeah,
I don't think so.
No, these are different.
These is a total different group. Yeah.
Yeah. It more seemed like it was implied that they were Force users, but instead of calling it the Force, they referred to it as
the thread, magic. Or the thread, right, or the magic, whatever.
Whatever they call it. Yeah. So that's that. I have a feeling they're coming back.
Because they didn't explain. They did not explain in episode 3. You see what happens to them. The fire was lit and the rocks were burning, and then all of a sudden all the witches were gone. But there was no and they were all laying next to each other. So what happened? They didn't explain that one, so I don't know.
So I think that's part that's left up for interpretation, as in they want you to assume the wrong thing.
Right.
So your assumption is either May killed them or the Jedi killed them. I have a feeling that maybe it was someone else.
Yeah.
So.
So you get Carrie-Anne Moss gets taken out like that real quick, and then you go to episode 2 with, was it Corbin, the Jedi Master? So then he's got, which I thought was kind of cool. I've never seen that before. He was in his meditative stance. I can't forget. I forgot what they call that, but he had like a force shield around him. Nobody could touch him and whatnot. So he ends up getting taken out. He takes himself out because he feels bad. Like they thought they were right, and he feels bad about what happened. But again, that's another thing that we don't know. What was so bad that happened that you took your own life? So that's, you know what I mean? There's still some stuff that are missing here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We don't have all the information left, and we got
3 episodes.
3 episodes.
Yeah. And then what do you think of Kelnaka? The 2 seconds that we got to see of him.
Don't remember it.
Yeah, exactly. Every minute there was like this whole hoopla going into we're going to see this cool, Wookiee Jedi, or some people liked it, some people hated it. And we got to see like 3 seconds of them.
Well, like, so he was like a side character in episode 3.
Yeah.
He shows up again in episode 4, where it's kind of just again quickly, all right, it's in the forest doing his thing.
Yeah.
And then I said this is a spoiler part, so I can say that in episode 5 he's dead.
Right.
Well, actually, at the end of episode 4 he's dead.
Right.
Before the reveal of the bad guy, that was, if you were paying attention, you go, yeah, I know who that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the other thing I had not an issue with, but they made you kind of knew they made it very obvious who the Sith was. You kind of hoped it wasn't, because some people were speculating it was the mom, the witch mom. I'm blanking on her name.
Which one? Because there's I guess the Mother Anesia.
Yeah, her. That's who I was thinking it was. Because I'm like, it can't be that obvious. And it ended up being that obvious. So
sometimes, if it's out there,
Yeah. So Yeah. What'd you
Yeah, I
think
was
of
thinking
Pip?
maybe his mother, Coral,
Right.
the other one with the horns.
Hmm.
Um, it's like, okay, that's a possibility. But whatever, the more I saw the the wormy guy, I'm like, oh, yep, no, him. It's the wormy guy.
What did you think of Pip, the droid?
I thought
It was,
it was pretty cool.
yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I didn't
Uh,
have a problem.
no,
You
no
think that?
BD9, but
Yeah. You think they'll have them at Disneyland? You can get them the little small one, put them on your shoulder.
oh, they'll have something with it. Yeah, I'd rather,
uh,
I would love for them. This is off topic, but I would love for them to at Galaxy's Edge. Do you have a BD droid that you could put on your shoulder?
yeah, that would be cool.
And
That,
I'm saying this because I've been. Dave knows I've been trying to play Survivor again, so I'm making
yeah.
progress on that. So,
Yeah.
and they had the walking around BD droids in Disneyland. So,
That's cool. That's awesome. I didn't see them the last time I was out there, so that's got to be something new.
when's the last
Uh,
time you've been to Disneyland?
oh, Disneyland? Oh, that was
Yes,
eons ago.
that's
6
why they
years,
didn't
7
have them.
years. Yeah. All right, let's get back on track here. So, what do you, how do you think the Chimere, his character, when he finally switched over to being the Sith, what did you think of him as a whole? Because to me, I felt he played, once he turned into Chimere, he turned into a really good bad guy.
Oh, I thought as a um an opponent, as a um the the bad guy, he was fantastic.
Hmm.
Sorry, I was trying to think of the literary term and it slipped my mind. Antagonist. As the
Hmm.
antagonist,
There you go.
he became really cool because it
Yeah.
was. And I've said this before about them. If you can understand the bad guy's point of view, that makes him more interesting.
Hmm.
Like again, classic one I keep going back to is Thanos. You understood his reasoning,
Yeah.
which made him even more powerful and cool.
Yeah.
Where sometimes you get a villain that you just go, all right, they're just the villain to be the villain.
Yeah.
There's no real like, okay, whatever their purpose is, oh, I want to take over the world. Oh, yeah, get in line. But if you get a villain that is doing something and there's a logic behind it, and there's a reasoning,
Hmm.
like this one, he's been wronged and he is, uncovered their secret, quote unquote, uncovered their secrets and taking matters into his own hands because, he is seeking justice on his behalf.
Hmm.
You did this to me, and now you're paying the consequences. You and your high and mighty, pompous Jedi ways.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's and he was just laying waste to them.
Yeah.
As I
He
was
was
saying before, it's like, okay, lightsabers doesn't kill anyone anymore. Yeah, tell that to the girl
yeah.
that he stabbed five,
Jackie,
six
whatever.
times.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
was one of the cool ones too. And like, oh, and she's dual wielding. She's got the two sabers now. And
Yeah. Now, this might be a little morbid, but when Yord, were you happy or disappointed when he met Chimere?
um, I was this. I'm having trouble with these names. Yord's the one with the yellow lightsaber that was walking her around, right?
Yes, yes. Yord was the one where he acted like his acting brought me to the prequel trilogies. Like he would fit in well with all of those guys.
Yeah, he's one of the ones that I liked. I
Right.
don't know, is because he got the yellow lightsaber, and I have a thing for people with yellow lightsabers.
Right.
My fellow yellow lightsaber people. He was one of the few ones that I thought was a little more personable versus like some of these other ones that, they see OSHA and goes, "You should be in jail." I didn't do anything. I don't care. I'm locking you up anyway.
Right.
Get me the binders.
Yeah. But the way he was taken out was probably one of the most brutal takedowns in Star Wars history. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that happen before. So,
how about there was the one scene that they couldn't show you, where you had the two younger ones and their lightsabers weren't working. For what I guess he's got Beskar arm guards.
He has I did a little dive on his cortosis. A lot of people are talking about it. It's some kind of material that you can blend into your your outfit, your armor or whatever, and it supposedly it'll short out lightsabers for like a few seconds or whatever. It doesn't render them useless, but it'll short them out. So that'll give them an advantage.
You had the two that their lightsabers short out. He impales the one, force pulls the other one into the back of that one, and then the part that's blocked by a tree, when you hear two objects fall from them being decapitated.
Oh!
Did you miss that part?
I missed that part.
Yes.
I gotta have to rewatch
Go
that
back. It's towards the beginning of the episode too.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, in the limited time
that a Sith should be.
Right, in the very limited time we've seen him, he has become one of the most brutal, guys out there. But I'm wondering if he is how what was it? Count Dooku was called Darth Tyrannus or something like that. Is this guy? But just going by his his costume or whatever the heck you want to call it. Like other people are saying he may not be like Darth Tyrannus or Tenebrow. He might be like the beginning of the Knights of Ren or something. So we're still trying to figure out who this guy is. Where do you think we're going with this? Because eventually we're gonna have to see some if they're gonna do the 3 seasons and they run it into the Emperor. We're gonna have to see Tenebrow and Plagueis at one point, I would think.
Yeah, particularly Plagueis. That's a good question. The Knights of Ren's theory is interesting because, again, that's kind of a part of lore that we saw the end of, but we don't know the beginning of.
Right.
Or we really don't have much information at all on them. So if you want to incorporate that, which is something that they've been doing, we tell you one piece of it, and then we fill in the back the rest of the story elsewhere. That actually makes sense, like you said, with he's more Kylo Ren
than anything else.
Appearance,
right? Than
like a Vader or a Sidious or Maul or any of the other ones.
Right.
So I could buy into that.
Yeah.
I could definitely buy into that. I try not to speculate too much because I just want to sit there and enjoy it.
Yeah, you leave the speculations to me because I always like to look forward.
I want to know then be disappointed
and then exactly.
Get off my lawn.
And then text you angrily.
Get off my grass.
This is it. I'm definitely out on this now.
I'm never gonna watch Star Wars ever again. Hey guys, did you watch the next episode?
You guys caught up?
What's taking you so long? Yes, I'm really, they really got me intrigued on where they're going now, because you have Lee Jung Jae's character that they really like dropped the bombshell. It's like, okay, yeah, you don't know what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
You think I'm bad? You don't know what he's done.
You're talking about Saul, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's something. He's another one that May. That's the last one. May has to, because there was the 4, and Saul was the last of the 4 that that she's trying to take out. So, but they're leaving. He apparently he knows Chimere or something in the past or something. So, some people are speculating that he is, also a bad guy as well. He's just hidden within the ranks. And
how this show is set up is that you're not supposed to know, or what you think you see at times is not the correct direction.
Mm-hmm.
They said at one point that this is kind of a who's done it type of police drama type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
could be just
so not everything is at face value.
Yeah, it could be a misdirection that maybe you think Saul could be something, but he's actually not.
Or vice versa, that you think, okay, here's this great Jedi. No, he's actually, remember, there's always 2. So,
well, that's what I'm getting. That's why I'm wondering. That's also one of my follow-up questions is, okay, you got Chimere. He's looking for an acolyte. So, but does he have a master? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's still out there too, because there's only supposed to be 2, a master and apprentice. So, or an acolyte in this example. So, I don't know. Hopefully, we get some kind of, is Saul his mystery master? Who knows?
Right. So we still have some questions and some things to answer that could lead in some very interesting directions that can maybe boost up this show some more.
Did the rule of 2 apply back then, though? Like, I have no idea. Did the rule of 2, was that a more Skywalker saga era?
It could be. But I do like the fact that, where Jedis, we have the Padawans.
Mm-hmm.
With the Sith now, we have the Acolytes.
Mm.
So I like the name, the fact that now the Apprentice Sith has
we have a title for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Not just, it's another Sith. Oh, look, another Sith. Oh, it's another Sith. Oh my goodness. We have a proper title.
Mm-hmm.
But we only got 3 more episodes to kind of, sum things up. We're not going to wrap things up.
Yeah, no.
Trying to get the 3 seasons of this going.
Mm-hmm.
See, and here I one and done. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But this was one of the ones that I was really looking forward to going into, the possibility of what Star Wars things were coming between this and Skeleton Crew and season 2 Andor and a few other things. Acolytes is one of the ones I was looking forward to. It's not, I can't say it's fully living up to my expectations.
Right.
But I don't hate it.
Right. But I wonder if that's the general perception of the show. Will they let it run for the 3 seasons that they want it?
Well, and that's kind of my speculation too. It's like, how the numbers been? I don't know if I've heard.
Well, I think the premiere was good. I think they had a high number of streams and stuff like that, but I haven't kept track, so I have no idea where the numbers are.
Probably even released it.
Right.
The I've heard some very high praise from some people.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then you have those reviews as well. But, what are they looking at? I don't think it's the reviews. Generally, they look at streaming minutes.
Right.
They look at streaming minutes. And if there's enough of them there, then yes, there will be a season 2.
Mhm.
So we shall see.
Yeah, so they're not going to go by the Rotten Tomato score where it was like at 15% or
No.
something.
Because I think that, in all fairness to IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, and all these online reviewing sites, the studios, I think, have gotten to the point that they realized of the toxic fans
Mhm.
who will intentionally drop the score of a show because they disagree with something,
Mhm.
whether they've seen it or not.
Right.
Because I forget what the movie was. I forget what the movie was, but there was a movie out there that people tanked the scores before the movie even came out, saying that this is the worst rated. I want to.
Was it the Marvels?
No, no, it was before Marvels, but it was like, I think it was like one of the either a Marvel movie or one of the Star Wars movies, where people intentionally flooded Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, they review bombed it or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
To mess up the algorithms, to make it, the lowest rated whatever it was,
Yeah.
just because it's not what they wanted. and they, again, never saw it, because I think whenever it came out and people actually watched it and go, why is this rated so badly?
Yeah.
Because the toxic fans went in there and figured out the algorithm and made enough bad reviews to outweigh all the positive reviews.
Hey, I had nothing to do with that. Why are you looking at me?
I'm looking at you, mailman.
I just text you and Pete my displeasure of certain shows, man. I don't hate it all. I just, it's just it's new, it's different. There are some good aspects to the Acolyte I really like. Episode 3 didn't do it for me. That threw me off the rails. But I think taking out Carrie Ann Moss, I thought was going to be in the show a heck of a lot longer than she was. I thought we were going to see, supposedly we might see another flashback with Kalnaka, because somebody was saying there's a scene where he's actually holding his lightsaber or whatever that hasn't been shown yet. Who knows? That could be on the cutting floor. But I think the main cool people that I want to. What's that?
Cutting floor. Oh, Dave.
Oh yeah, dope. I think like the people that I wanted to see and only got to see them for 5 minutes or 30 seconds. That kind of, because we got the plain Jedi acting like, in the prequels. So that's what set me off in the wrong direction with this. So I don't know. That's just my pickiness in my Star Wars.
Get off my lawn. Yes,
no,
are you going to continue watching it?
Yeah, I'll continue. At this point, I'm vested, because now I got to see where they're going with the Sith, with this guy. But if they come out if episode 6 is another clunker, man, riding off a high on 4 and 5, you want to keep that momentum going. But if they throw another episode 3 in there, and that's going to throw it off the track again. I'm going to watch it, but I'm just saying that I'm hoping the momentum is going in the right direction now.
My guess with 6, probably not, but at some point we are going to get this guy's backstory.
Right.
So, but we shall see. I mean, all this is in time, and if they planned out 3 seasons worth of stuff, It's not, when are these things going to happen?
Yeah.
But we shall see.
Mhm.
Any last minute thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I think we're good, bud.
All right. Well, Dave, thank you for coming on again.
No, thanks for having
Good to hear your beautiful dulcet tones.
me. I'm glad you enjoyed them.
Always, Dave. Always. We'll be talking soon.
Yes, sir.
And make sure to join the conversation on Acolytes or Doctor Who or whatever you want at our social networks at WD Magiccast everywhere. Thank you again, Dave, for joining us. We want to thank you for your time, for listening. We know how little time we all have and how much, how much it means to us, to me, to us over here at WD Magiccast, we get to spend this time together and let you guys listen. Much appreciated. Please, again, keep those reviews coming on Apple Podcast, on Spotify. We have all 5-star reviews. Keep them coming. We need more. The more that you do, more reviews that we get, the more that they will help promote this show. Won't believe in a big Disney family, and so do I. Don't forget to subscribe to the show while you're at it. This way you always know when a new episode is posted. And while you're at it, consider becoming a premium subscriber to the show. Truly help us out with the reviews and equipment, and just in general help us grow the show. Do this over at the Spotify podcaster website. Links to that, the social media, and the shops are in the show notes. Speaking of which, make sure to check out that TeePublic shop. Get yourself some cool WD Magiccast stuff. Because remember, the show is brought to you by listeners like you. In Japan, broken objects are often repaired with gold. The flaw is seen as a unique piece of the object's history, which adds to its beauty. Consider this the next time you feel broken. Never give up, never give in. Be your own hero. Let the world see your light shine. Now, I'd like to end this week's show with a quote from Walt Disney himself. Our heritage and ideals, our code and our standards, the things we live by and teach our children, are preserved or diminished by how freely we exchange ideas and feelings. Again, that's Walt Disney. Thank you again for listening, everyone, and I'll see you next time.